Handoff, Adrian up the middle, room to the 20, cuts to the left to the 25, and Adrian's loose! He splits the defense! 50, 40, 30, goodbye, baby! Touchdown!
We bleed purple, and our bones are gold. Hear the horns coming out of our dome, behold. We are Minnesota Vikings fans. We love when a player scores.
Hey there, Minnesota Vikings fans. You are listening to the Purple People podcast. My name is Kyle West. I am accompanied, as always, by my partner in crime. His name is Adam Carlson. What's up,
That's
Adam?
me right here. I'm just here enjoying watching more football. Had a couple of really good, exciting games for the conference championships.
Mm-hmm.
Neither of them had the Vikings in it, so that doesn't make me very happy, but what can you do, right?
Who you pulling for in the Super Bowl before we get on to the show? You got a pick for us?
I want to see the Seahawks win.
I gotta go the opposite as usual. I want to see Peyton win, just based on the season he's having and his age. And it's like, you know what?
Here's my reasoning behind it. There aren't very many teams in the NFL that have never won a Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And the Seattle Seahawks are one of them. I want to see other teams get that opportunity too. I mean, the Vikings haven't had a chance yet, and I want them to. The Detroit Lions, I'd like them to get a shot too, but not before the Vikings, I'll tell you that much. Either way, I want some of these other teams to feel the glory. And I know that there are other fans out there, the whole Richard Sherman thing, and the fact that there's former Vikings on the Seahawks. To me, that's more of a reason to want the team to win rather than being bitter because the players went on to a different team.
I'd still like to see Peyton, just because, you know, the comeback that he went through a couple seasons ago, and
he's had enough glory.
It's
taken
Peyton.
enough records.
Russell Wilson will have plenty time to shine. But anyway, let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings, shall we? That is what
let's
we are
move into
here
some quick
for.
hits.
Yep.
That's what I've got. Adrian Peterson, I don't get to talk about him enough during this offseason. So far, haven't had a whole lot of good news about him, though. It sounds like he may have to undergo some groin surgery
Ouch.
during the offseason. Nothing serious. He'll be ready to play for the season, but still, any surgery is surgery. So,
Mm-hmm. All the more reason why some of us were calling when the season was all but lost for Gerhardt to get more carries and to limit Adrian a little bit. But it is what it is. I'm sure he'll be fine and ready to go back in Pro Bowl form in 2014, because that's
hopefully.
that's the kind of player he is. He'll be ready.
The next one is about Kyle West's favorite person in the NFL, Roger Goodell.
Boo
Now,
this
Roger
man.
Goodell is considering eliminating extra points after touchdowns. Sees them as a formality and a waste of time. He says that after a touchdown, players would have the opportunity to go for two, but instead of going for two, it'd be worth 1 point, and if they don't get it, they would lose a point.
Yeah. I don't want to spend too much time on this one, but I agree and I don't agree. Extra point is pretty automatic. It's very rare that you miss it. It does happen.
Here's what I'd like to see happen. Like a fan on our Facebook page pointed out. Just move it back a bit.
Yeah, that'd be a better solution to me, because I think it gets too not confusing. I understand what you just said, but I think that's dumb to where you start subtracting points and you start messing with the totals, whatever. If you were
I guess what it is it costs you 1 point to go for two.
Yeah, I guess if you're gonna do anything, I would be more of a fan of you score a touchdown, you get 6 points, and then it's a mandatory 2-point conversion that you either have to run or pass for the 2-point play. So you would either make it and score an extra 2 points, or not make it and you get 6 out of it. But
I don't know. Either way, this is interesting. You
know.
can join in the discussion and the debate on the Facebook page. I'm sure Kyle's gotten a little of that over on the Twitter page maybe as well. The next one is CBS Sports is reporting that the Cleveland Browns are willing to move up in the draft to get Johnny Manziel. Lot of Vikings fans want Johnny Manziel. Very excited for Johnny Manziel. Although I'm not personally a part of that, I understand why people like him. but it looks like the chances of him falling to Minnesota are not good.
I've kind of said all along that if Minnesota wants to draft Johnny Football, that they were going to have to jump above the Cleveland Browns to do so. I believe that Johnny Manziel will translate to the NFL, and the Browns need a quarterback, but more than anything, Browns need a player that can bring media attention to the team, can sell jerseys, and get people talking about their franchise. And
so they got Josh Gordon?
Yeah, but quarterback position, and it's all about the quarterback position, Adam. And they need someone like him to come into that team in the worst way possible.
Yeah, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there have been some new rules that have been passed by the NFL owners in regards to the HBO series Hard Knocks.
Yeah, I don't really like this, but...
Now, I will explain this
Mm-hmm.
as simply as I can. The NFL can force a team to participate in the series as long as they don't fall into any of these three categories. The team has hired a new head coach.
That's us.
The team has made the playoffs in the last 2 years. That's us.
That's us too.
Or the team has appeared on Hard Knocks in the last 10 years.
That's not us.
No, but still, the odds of the Vikings being a part of Hard Knocks after meeting two of those criteria that would eliminate them is very low.
Yeah, I don't like the fact that the NFL could force a team that doesn't want to be on Hard Knocks to be on it. Like, the show's awesome. I love watching it, even if it's on dumbfuck team that I don't really care about. Pardon my language, but forcing a team into it, I think, is a little silly.
Oh, come on, you'd watch Hard Knocks with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, yeah, I watch any team that we get put on there, but...
If you want to see a full list of all the teams that don't meet that criteria, I believe there's 8.
Mm-hmm.
I posted them on my Viking Age article about Hard Knocks.
Mm-hmm.
My last quick hit is about a coaching change, but not any of the ones that have been huge on social media. This one's about Mike Singletary, who has decided to move on from the Vikings and will no longer be the linebacker coach / special assistant / whatever he was.
Yeah, that was my favorite headline that I found on Twitter when the news story broke, is that Mike Singletary no longer doing whatever it was he did for the team. I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Are you surprised? I'm not at all surprised.
I'm not surprised, and I'm not really sad. So,
No. As soon as Leslie Frazier was gone, you just knew that Singletary was next. Right. And supposedly he said that this was something that he had planned last season. That
he wants to be a head coach or a coordinator somewhere else.
And I would like a toilet made of solid gold. Something's probably not going to happen. Do you think any team is going to give Singletary a shot at being a head coach?
Oh, sure.
Really?
Northwestern or maybe Central Florida.
Let me rephrase that. Do you think any NFL team will ever give him a shot at being a head coach?
They shouldn't.
No. He would have to... I think for Mike Singletary, he would have to go to college, have massive success for him to get another look at NFL. But
I could
be
hear
completely
you've
wrong.
got something fun coming up.
I do
But a segment here that you don't normally do. So let's talk about that for a minute.
I do have something fun. Off season, we're gonna have some fun over on our Facebook account, and I've always been a big fan of captioning photos and seeing what other people can, what our fans can come up with. It's
awesome seeing creativity and humor, two things that just go well together.
So over on Facebook.com/Purple People Podcast, I posted a photo of Bill Musgrave, and you guys can log on there and see the shot. And I asked you guys to come up with the best caption for the photo of the recently departed, not that he's dead, but he's no longer with the team.
Right.
Bill Musgrave, he's dead to us, I guess you could say. The winning caption came from Robert Sakoma, which is this the way to the unemployment line? That's the winning caption. For those of you who haven't seen the photo, it's Bill.
That's a pretty good one.
It's Bill standing there as confused as ever, kind of pointing off in the distance.
And it's really not even a full point. It's like a half-assed point.
Yeah, which kind of sums up his career as a Minnesota Viking pretty poignantly. We had a lot of great responses on there. There was 38 different replies in all. Lots of good ones to choose from. I'll just read a couple here.
Excellent.
Will, you were probably my second choice. He typed in, "Is that the way to the exit? The directions aren't on my index card."
Oh.
So his index card will live on in infamy here in Minnesota. What was the other one that I said? I really liked Adam. I lost.
I don't recall.
All aboard the unemployment train. I thought that one was really funny. So those were the three that I thought was pretty good. I like that quite a bit.
Have you had an opportunity to talk to Musgrave's play card and see how that will live on, or?
Musgrave's play card over Twitter changed his account to Norv Turner's face. I believe.
What?
Norv Turner's face. And he has a really funny shot of Norv Turner with his hair sticking like straight up.
Oh yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, so you can follow him for all your. Although I'm kind of secretly sad that Musgrave's play card didn't live on. I would have liked to seen that Twitter handle kind of continue for a little bit.
Just in honor of Mr. Musgrave and all his accomplishments in Minnesota.
Precisely.
Well, let's go on to talking about all the coaching changes, because that's what we came to talk about today.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we already touched on the new hiring for the offensive coordinator position, and that's Norv Turner. This one's got a lot of people excited. Really offensive-minded coordinator. Really loves playing vertically, not afraid to challenge defenses. He's a guy that could really help open up the offense in Minnesota.
Yeah, and have you seen the list of running backs that he's worked with over his tenure in the
there's some
NFL?
successes on that.
You know, LaDainian Tomlinson, Emmitt Smith, was Ricky Williams on that list?
Yep.
Yeah, now Adrian Peterson. So here's a guy who we know about. He's going to want to get the ball vertical down the field to Cordero Patterson, but he's going to get the best out of Adrian Peterson as well, too.
Absolutely. So that's a hiring to be really excited about. It's sad that it took seeing the play calling from Bill Musgrave to really appreciate what Norv Turner brings to the table.
Mm-hmm.
But there's one other really interesting thing about this. Now, I was going to save till the end the Mike Zimmer hire, but I got to talk about it a little bit because of how Norv Turner will have a lot of control over the offense.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mike Zimmer is such a defensive-minded person that he will have almost near control of that defense. And so a lot of that's going to fall on Norv Turner to take control of the offense. And the nice thing is that he has the experience of being a head coach, a coordinator. He's held all these positions in the NFL. That none of this should be too much for him.
Precisely. Now, it's important to remember that Mike Zimmer has stated pretty boldly that he's going to be hands-on with the defense because that's his forte, but he is definitely entering this with the mindset of being the head coach of the team. Like, it's going to have his stamp on the entire thing, not just defense, but offense as well. But he'll definitely be looking for help from Norv Turner. Yes, but it was a very smart hire in getting Norv Turner on the team, because here's a guy, you've got a coach with a defensive background who hired, like you said, a coordinator who, with head coaching experience, first time the Minnesota Vikings have ever done so, by the way, hired a coordinator who had prior experience as a head coach. But like you said, he got someone who you know that you can trust to handle the offensive side of the ball. He doesn't have to babysit Norv Turner. No. That's what has me excited. At the beginning of the show, I think I forgot to say the episode number and the show title. Oh shit, we did. We just bolted right into this one. We did. We were so excited to get talking. Yeah. And forgot all about that. Anyway, this is episode number 85, and it's titled Norv Turner and Hooch. Well, there you go. Let's see here. I was talking. I had a funny story I wanted to bring up really quick. You guys know, might not know. I work retail. I talk to a lot of different people over the course of the day, and I was checking in our Little Debbie vendor at work today, and I had a Vikings long sleeved Vikings shirt on underneath my work shirt, and I guess he could see the on the sleeves where it said Vikings, and so he started talking about the team. And I forget sometimes when I run into people on the street that they don't. I have conversations like I have with Adam or my Twitter followers or the people on the Facebook group, and I tend to go a little in depth occasionally.
Little hardcore.
A little hardcore. I was talking about Norv Turner and bringing him in the offense, and I could tell really as it was progressing that I was maybe talking a little bit more than what the my Little Debbie vendor knew about the team. And not that I am any sort of football mastermind, because I'm not. But it was just a funny little side thing that happened at work today.
Nice. Well, Norv Turner won't be the only Turner to join the Viking staff. His son Scott is slated to become the Vikings quarterback coach.
Well, he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, he does. That's a big job ahead of him. Mm-hmm. Whether it's going to be a rookie, whether the Vikings for some reason try to get more out of Christian Ponder, whether they try to fix Josh Freeman.
Can I add a quick hit this late in the show?
Sure.
Christian and Samantha Ponder sold their house in Minnesota.
Oh, no.
It went for $1.062 million or something
so they got pretty close to what they were asking.
Yeah, so writing is on the wall. That should tell you pretty much everything you need to know about Ponder's future in Minnesota.
I don't think so. That was a secondary house anyway. They hardly ever used it.
From the reports that I've been reading, it's that he is going to pretty much ask for a trade from this team. That he's ready to move on from the Vikings, and I think
I haven't seen a lot of that.
I have, and I'm thinking the Vikings are ready to move on from him as well too. This is fresh start for the team, new head coach, new quarterback potentially, or someone to compete with Matt Castle. That's what I think is going to happen.
We'll see. The Vikings have a new defensive coordinator as well. Former Dolphins linebackers coach George Edwards has brought in to be the defensive coordinator. Now, the nice thing about this is that the defensive coordinator for the Vikings will not have to be some defensive-minded genius. Mm-hmm. It's got to be someone who's willing to take the plans that Mike Zimmer brings in and execute them. And George Edwards is one of those guys that can come in and do it. Not that Edwards is a yes man. He definitely will have to follow orders from Zimmer. But Edwards has enough football knowledge as being the linebackers coach that he'll be able to come in and help out immediately.
It's a name that I freely admit I was not familiar with him prior to him getting signed with the Vikings. And I actually kind of now wish I would have spent a little bit more time researching him. But I do understand exactly what you said. With a coach with the pedigree that Zimmer has on defense, and you know he's going to be more hands-on probably with that side of the football, yeah, I understand the hire, and I hope that they can come up with something considerably better than what Alan Williams and Leslie Frazier did last season.
From what I've read from Zimmer's conferences, that it's going to be a lot more man, a lot more less. Well, it might stick to a cover 2 scheme, but it's not going to be as much Tampa 2.
What has me the most excited is when he said, he's been asked point blank, are you going to run a 3-4 or a 4-3? And I'm going to paraphrase Coach Zimmer here, but he said something to the effect of, I'm not worried about schemes. We're going to play to players' strengths. And yep. I'm like, ooh, that has me excited as a Vikings fan, because Leslie Frazier was like, no, this is our scheme, and damn it, players are going to play to it.
Players have to know their role in the scheme and execute.
Which, no shit, that players need to do that. But play to players' strengths, and maybe you can get something out of Chris Cook. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's like maybe if you play up to what these guys can do best. It's the old Paul Heyman analogy. You play to a guy's good side, and you get the most out of him, and that's what I'm hearing about Zimmer, is that he's been able.
Cook is a free agent, but I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like using Xavier Rhodes a little bit more in press, and letting him be a little more physical there on the line. I understand completely. He will be the kind of coach that will take all that into effect.
Yeah.
All of it. And the last not quick hit, but the last coach hiring was going to be Mike Zimmer. Now, a lot of the fans very familiar with Coach Zimmer because they got to see
Hard Knocks.
His personality. Yep,
Yeah.
Hard Knocks. They've all watched the Facebook or the YouTube clip.
Like the one clip that shows up on YouTube.
Clip of him swearing violently. And I just think it's hilarious that the Vikings are going from a more soft-spoken, level-headed Leslie Frazier to such a passionate, emotional, enthusiastic guy in Zimmer. It's such a contrast. It's crazy.
It'll be interesting to see how, the players that survive the transition will react to the first time that they're in Mankato and they're in pads for the first time, and someone's not in position, and Zimmer goes up to him and, grabs a hold of him and is chewing him out and telling him, dropping F-bombs here and there and where to line up and what to do. It'll be interesting to see how some of those guys that are used to, the more of the soft-spoken approach that we believe Leslie Frazier took with it, and it's a contrasting style, and it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely. And that's all I have for this week. Do you have anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I do. I wanted to find the quote. I just thought of it. I'm trying to find it really quick. I had something from Brian Robeson that I wanted to share.
Well, in the meantime, I can talk about Zimmer's other quote, where he said that he can't wait to be standing up there next to the Wilf family when they're presented the Lombardi Trophy. And that, to me, just gets me so excited.
That's exactly what you want to hear from a head coach. I found the quote that I wanted to read from Brian. He was interviewed on ESPN 1500. Really good inside info for Viking stuff, by the way. And he was, over the course of it, he kind of let something out that I thought was really interesting. I'm going to read you the quote. Obviously, we're going to have to fill some holes left by guys like Kevin and Jared. And I thought that was really interesting, that Brian would just, speculation on his part, but basically come out and say that Jared Allen and Kevin Williams probably not going to be back on this team.
I didn't interpret it that way at all, because right now they are holes.
What do you mean?
Right now, neither of those players are a part of the Minnesota Vikings. Viking season is over. Their contract is over for this year. They're entering free agency. That doesn't mean these players won't be back. It just means they're not currently on the roster and there's a hole there.
Yeah, but the way you said it, obviously we're going to have some holes to fill. I kind of read more into it as him saying, like, these guys are free agents. Like you said, they're no longer with the team, and they're probably not going to be back because the team's going to be going in a different direction at both positions.
Now, keep in mind, too, we have new coaches. Several of them have ties to players. We got Zimmer, who is familiar with players from Dallas and where else? Miami and Cincinnati. You got Norv Turner, who has been around the league, too, and has made several connections. And, you've got all these connections from all these different coaches now. And that means that they could be able to bring in some other talent. Maybe at a discount. You never know.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. But that's the quote I wanted to read.
All right, sounds good. So that's all we have for this week. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Remember to check out our page on Facebook. Go to our Twitter page. Send Kyle a nice tweet. I know he appreciates that.
Oh, all the time.
Check out my stuff on the Viking Age. Great place to get Vikings information, sometimes a little bit of other information, sometimes some crap you don't even really want to read, but hey, it's interesting and it's Vikings, so why not, right?
Mhm.
And in the meantime, thank you everyone for listening, and stay classy, Minnesota.